reorganization process after years of a haphazard approach to choosing and funding IT projects. This was largely due to the business decisions in the 1990s, which created a need in the early 2000s for substantial IT investment. In the 90s, they were not investing in IT heavily and focusing more on marketing and sales, and they ended up outsourcing their IT, and this left them with very little internal IT personnel resources to run and operate their IT. And Volkswagen of America wanted a better approach to determining which IT projects from their respective business units to fund with a limited budget. This, because of their lack of investment in the 90s, they needed a much more investment in the 2000s to go forth with their new corporate business plan, which is the Organizational Readiness Program, which they call Next Round of Growth, NRG. Now, with their lack of investment in the 1990s, this left them with very little capabilities in IT because most of it was outsourced, and they outsourced it for short-term IT cost reduction. And Matt Levig, the Volkswagen America, created a new internal IT department, which he called Business Process Technology and Organization, BPTO. And BPTO was implemented to help facilitate NRG's overall strategy. And BPTO and other corporate strategists created a high-level business architecture to depict key resources of the enterprise. With this new business architecture, it allowed for the creation of the new process of managing priorities and managing development of or managing the implementation of their new IT prioritization process. This new prioritization process allowed Volkswagen of America to combine, eliminate, as well as postpone certain proposals from over 40 different business units. Some business unit project proposals were later combined or reclassified with enterprise projects or reclassified with the NRG goals. And these goals tended to receive more support, more funding than the individual business units. This also created a rift in the implementation of the new process. Volkswagen of America had difficulty with some of the business units who were not getting funded because they felt like their proposals weren't being represented fully because they weren't in support of the entire enterprise-wide strategy. But nonetheless, with this new prioritization, the company was left with much more information available for decision making, and this left them with a better ranking system of which projects to go about funding. And not everybody was pleased with it, but overall, it was a more sound process, a more sound governing process in handling these types of issues for Volkswagen of America. And that's the general theories and concepts behind this case. And I will leave it to John to go into the implementation of
my name is John Brummel, and I'm part of Group 5. I'm going to talk to you today about alternatives and evaluation criteria. Alternative number 1 is to increase the budget. The pro to this is the IT departments will be able to complete projects earlier and implement them faster. The con to this is that it's expensive and unlikely to happen without approval from the parent company and the shareholders. Alternative 2 is to launch an alternative and capital raising initiative to enable all projects to be completed and also to remove the stigma that IT is an obstacle. The pro to this is that there is increased competitive advantage, all business executives are funded, all projects can be obtained with funding cap removed, and it should result in increased return on investment, option-created investment, and stay in business. The point of this is so that all the projects can be completed and they can get the prototypes out. Now there are some cons to this. It requires stockholder vote to issue additional shares or take on more debt. There are also alternatives that we'll explore and other ways that VW could raise additional fundings to get these projects going. Some OCI prototypes could incur losses, which is another risk that VW has to consider, since they are going to either borrow the money or issue additional shares. Projects could also fail or be delayed. Alternative 3 is to outsource IT. Now this has been done before by VW, but I'll explain the pros. Instead of outsourcing all of IT, they would outsource a part of it. Enables VW of OA to focus on enterprise goals, it's cost effective, it reduces costs, and increases available capital for other projects. Now I wouldn't outsource the entire, but I would outsource part of it. So part of IT would still remain at VW, and part of it would be outsourced, as opposed to the 100% outsourcing they attempted back in the 90s, which failed. The con to this is that VWA loses control of its IT, at arm's length, as we saw before, and they could cut too deeply as they did in the past and need to rehire, which would slow down the goal of implementing the projects and getting to market faster. This has failed in the past. Alternative 4 is to recategorize the rank of projects that are more important to enterprise goals without input from business unit executives, basically removing the business unit executives from the ultimate decision, because obviously they didn't pick option 2, they picked option 1. The pro to this is it doesn't require the business unit executive input, it accelerates enterprise project implementation, and avoids projects slipping in their enterprise budget just to get funded, i.e. taking their project and calling it an enterprise level project when it's really not aimed for those goals, but they need to slip it in because enterprise projects are more likely to get funded. The cons to this is that coworkers, which the CIO must work with, might be unable to fulfill their duties if he indirectly chooses projects that they will need to get their basic duties done. Project quality could suffer, and key enterprise projects could accidentally be left underfunded if they're not analyzed properly. Now we'll talk about the best solution and implementation plan. The best plan is to launch capital raising initiatives through alternative funding to enable all projects to be completed and also to remove the stigma that IT is an obstacle and reiterate that strategy drives IT. Basically, the strategy of VW of America is sound, however, capital constraints and legacy systems slow the implementation of new and old projects, limiting growth. Outsourcing part of IT, not all of the IT, to reduce costs and complete the stay in business and enterprise goals. That's another part of the solution. Another alternative is to sell obsolete equipment. This alternative should also be implemented to reevaluate all projects submitted by business unit executives to ensure that the projects submitted are actually linked together to enterprise goals and were not slipped in simply to get funding. Another alternative to be implemented is to use some of the retained earnings to fund key projects, and also to take out a low-interest loan to finance projects using inventory as security. Also, franchise costs could be increased to finance these projects. At the end of the day, it's important to raise enough capital and be creative about where that alternative funding comes from, even though the source may be different, in order to remove this budgetary block. The strategy is key, and the strategy doesn't need to be modified. It does need to be reevaluated to ensure that the right projects are being launched and funded. But as opposed to slowing down implementation of, say, supply chain that could affect you globally, to focus on your local goals is not the way to go. So our best solution is to get additional funding and remove the stigma so that all the projects can be funded. And I think this is a viable alternative.
Hello Hello, it's Brenda again. This part, I would like to introduce the current status of Volkswagen of America. Volkswagen of America is one of the world leader automobile manufacturer and company. Volkswagen Group is largest car maker in Europe. In 2010, the group increased the number of vehicle delivery to customers to 7.2 million. In 2009, the vehicle delivery to customer is 6.30 million, corresponding to an 11.4% share of the world passenger car market. In Western Europe, just over 1 in 5 new cars, 21%, comes from the Volkswagen Group. Group sales come in 2010 to 126.9 billion euros. In 2009, group sales comes around 1,005.2 billion. Profit after tax in the 2010 financial year amounted to 7.2 billion euros. In 2009 is 0.9 billion. You can see the profile. You can see the PowerPoint show the revenue 2010 to 2011. The next one, the Volkswagen of America will only be able to satisfy growing demand with respect to flexibility, prices, quality, and cost if it views the dynamic process of change as a permanent challenge. Volkswagen of America is going to reach the following two targets during year of 2011 to 2012. One is promoting development potential. Another is advancement of women. The promoting development potential is the goals of the Volkswagen of America to recognize and uphold the performance and learning potential of each. Advancement of women. Volkswagen of America is not able to do without the special competency and creativity of women. The special advancement of female talent is therefore an integral element of our personal development strategy. Here is the Group 5 presentation last parts regarding future plan during 2012 to 2018. Volkswagen of America with their technical innovation, the Volkswagen of America can build on a strong tradition and corporate culture that has always centered on a capacity of social and ecological change. Through their corporate value, they are committed to a sustainable and socially responsible course of action. For Volkswagen of America, commercial success must invariably go hand in hand with an intact environment and social responsibility. Volkswagen of America has emerged safely and with renewed strength from the worldwide crisis that was triggered by the financial market. Volkswagen's strategy from 2012 to 2008 was take land forward along their charted course. In this content, they assign top priority to ecological relevance and sustainable